Hello, guys. It's Ben. This is episode 3 of the Wiffle Statement podcast. Today, I am very happy to have with me Ryan Petrone. Ryan is a wiffle ball vet of several tournaments and leagues, the most notable one, of course, being the Palisades WBL, where he started in their minor league system in 2016. In that year, his team would go on to win the minor league championship. Then last year, he started out with the Royals, would finish the season with the Brewers. While on the Brewers, he would pitch 25 innings, allotting 44 strikeouts with an overall ERA of 1.0, and would throw 3 shutouts against some of the greatest wiffle ball hitters in the world. Ryan, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, man. I didn't know you were going to have all the stats like that. I like that.
I did my research, man. I was ready to go.
Yeah, man. Nice.
I don't know who runs Scuff Stats or however that got started, but in terms of information, it's all there.
Oh yeah, that's great. I love that.
Yeah. Let me I'm curious. So obviously you live in New York, I'm presuming, with Palisades, right?
Yeah, Long Island, New York.
Oh, awesome. But so wiffle ball, New York, that's basically the bed of it. But did you play baseball and that led you to wiffle ball, or did you play it in PE? What's your backstory with wiffle ball?
I played baseball from 10 years old till I graduated high school. I was big into baseball. I loved it. And I always played backyard wiffle ball, played backyard leagues, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And it got to the point where I was known around school for my wiffle ball playing.
With just friends and whatnot?
Sorry, what?
With just friends and whatnot?
Yeah, people knew I liked to play, and I mean, we were just playing backyard wiffle ball. I was throwing 85 miles per hour, so people just knew I liked to play wiffle ball and I threw fast.
Right.
And then towards the end of my high school years, it was I was throwing out my arm playing wiffle ball, so I couldn't play baseball. And
really?
Now that
Wow.
What was that?
Did you pitch in baseball?
No, I was a catcher. But still, okay. I'm throwing the ball back to the pitcher 100 times.
Right. I got you. What was the reaction you got from people when you transitioned more into wiffle ball?
I mean, some people didn't have, they had no idea what I was doing. My dad was, I guess, a little bummed that I was not playing baseball as much, but he likes wiffle ball. He used to play in leagues back in the day, and he would play yard style, so we still play. Mm-hmm. So it's all good.
Was baseball ever a college ambition for you, or not so much?
Not really. If I played, it would have been D3, and that's not. I wasn't that good, so.
I got you. Well, playing wiffle ball out of high school, I don't know if it's a direct shot, but eventually that led you into Palisades, which is more, I'd say the biggest, or at least top 3 biggest, leagues in the country. And you've been playing there for 2 years, right? Total.
Yeah. 2017 was my second. 2017 was my first full year in the majors.
Mm-hmm.
2016, I was actually drafted by the Padres. I'm pretty sure that's your favorite team, right? Just from doing my research. I was drafted by the Padres, traded to the Royals, all while still playing in the minors, I love the Palisades minor league system. Amazing thing. Brett, who runs Palisades, started that up.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of got my feet wet, and then was able to get called up halfway through the season, and then now I'm just a Palisades major leaguer.
Right, yeah. I don't know how else to describe it. So, out of those 2 years, I'm sure you've got to face a bunch of different pitchers and, play against some great guys. What's your, personal favorite accomplishment or, moment for yourself in those 2 years?
This is pretty easy for me, actually. You saw my stats. My pitching has not been amazing. In the minors, I led the minors in ERA. I led the minors in shutouts, and then you go up to the majors. It's the real deal. These guys are the best players in the world. Mm-hmm. And with the Royals, I didn't really have great stuff. Got traded to the Brewers, and I found it. And I threw a shutout and actually won against Jordan Robles.
Wow.
Who, as you know, is probably cream of the crop.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, that's very impressive. Like, so what is that like? For me, I know, and I'm sure, a handful of other people not in the league would know just from watching This Month in Wiffle Ball and whatnot. But what is it like for you, like when you go back to friends or family or whatever, and like you talk to them about this, or do you? They just assume you go missing on Sunday for a few hours every week.
Oh, I totally tell everybody about it. I brag about it, and I mean, I know it's not a big deal to anybody else, but the people in the league. But I love it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's definitely something to gloat about. I mean, if you do understand that world.
I mean, yeah, I have some friends who I got watching the videos and the This Month in Wiffle Balls, and like they'll know the names, like Joey Maniscalco's diving over the field. They know him just from the highlights, and like so I'll bring up the names, and they're like, oh yeah, I know him from the videos.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, like this month, like HMP, HPM. I don't remember the initials, but that like channel, like This Month in Wiffle Ball. I assume that's Brett Bevilacqua that runs it. Am I right?
Yeah, it's HMP Films. Brett runs. It's his channel. I think that used to be like an old film company or something he used to have.
Mm-hmm.
But it's his channel. He does the narration. He records every game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I can't like the undertaking he has has got to be insane. I don't know how he can do all that he does.
I mean, I can't give Brett enough credit because my brother and I, we have like a little bit of a film background and a wiffle ball background.
Oh, okay.
And Brett does both of it, and he does an amazing job with it. And it's very like he talks a lot about possibly stepping down in the future, and I could see it would take a toll on anybody, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's been doing this for about 8 years now, 8 or 9.
I think this year was the 10th season since it started.
Like the very, very beginning.
Yeah, but then it's maybe like 7 or 8 years since like they started keeping real stats or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the documentary they did. Yard work. I really enjoyed that. I mean, he did a fantastic job with that, and that kind of showed the building of Palisades through the years.
Yeah, for sure.
Just to divert a second, kind of off topic. What you said? He has a background in film.
I believe he would produce. I don't want to mess up anything because it's his background,
right.
But I just know he was really big into just creating. If you go far enough back onto the HMP Films channel, you might see like a couple things that he's done. I don't know if he did like motorcycle stuff.
Yeah, I saw a couple like documentaries, non wiffle ball related at all that he had made. Yeah. Kind of made me curious. Back to Palisades. Here's the question. So like I was talking with some buddies, and like my kind of thing, like I've done. Even though I've never played in Palisades and whatever, but like educating myself on it has been something I've done. So now that I've got trying to get my own league going down here and hopefully to grow it over the years, kind of explaining this to, really close friends or people who would, I think would be interested in whatever. It's kind of interesting, but talking to a buddy the other day, I was talking to him about Palisades, and he's watched, some of This Month in Wiffle Ball, and he thinks it's, great. He's really, really into it. And I was telling him, so like, they have a minor league system, right? And this like just blew his mind that not only, is this like a wiffle ball league, but they have their whole set of, minor, like the whole minor league system, like this isn't just wiffle ball, like, it's, really serious. So like, what's it like, I'm just curious, what's that atmosphere like with the people that play in the minors or, the minors championship, like compared to professional, like the top level?
It's a lot slower, but I mean, there's nothing, you're not going to beat, like professional wiffle ball or the majors when you got guys like Ryan McElrath or Jordan Robles or Johnny Casa who are throwing close to 100.
Mm-hmm.
But, in the minors, it's a lot slower. There are a couple guys, like there's this dude, Tim Caulfield, he comes up and down from the minors, but he's playing with all his buddies, so I don't really think he wants to play in the majors. Mm-hmm. He throws probably 90, but it's a lot of like old vets from the Palisades who, like, now that the talent is getting a lot younger and maybe they're a little better in the majors, I'm not saying they can't, hack it in the majors, but there's not enough roster spots for them. It's like they'll play in the minors.
Right.
And it's just, it's intense, but it's not at the same level. So it's kind of the perfect thing for teams or players to join and really, polish off their skills. And,
right.
It's a great time.
So, like, do you think the equivalency would be like Golden Stick Yard League? I know that's very competitive, but like you mentioned, it's kind of slower paced. Like, do the minors have like a lot more fielding? Slower pitching, not so pitcher dominated.
I've played in a couple games in the Golden Stick Yard League, and it does have a more fielder-based style to it, because there is going to be a lot more hitting in the minors, because like I said, the pitching is slower. So, you could compare it like that.
Mm-hmm.
I hit like 400 in the minors, and last season I'm struggling to hit 100, so
right.
It's rough.
Well, here's a question. So, like you mentioned your batting average. Who would be your least favorite pitcher to face in Palisades?
Oh, God. There's so many that I can't hit. That's the problem. Ryan McGorath is great.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch anything, he'll always be in all the videos.
Yeah.
There's a guy in the Yankees. Well, he opted out of the Yankees, Mike Weiner,
mm-hmm.
who throws insanely hard.
Yeah, didn't he? I remember them talking about this month in Wiffle Ball, like clocking out 90s.
Oh yeah, for sure. He throws extremely hard. And then there's a guy who actually drives from Virginia to Palisades. He made a couple trips out, which that's a very long drive. That's like 7-8 hours.
Yeah.
His name's Dan Whitener, who I faced, who threw close to 100.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the three I probably hate facing the most.
Is it just based on their speed, or is it more their movement, or?
With Mike Weiner and Whitener, they throw like close to 100. These guys are throwing absolute gas.
Right.
But McGorath, I've actually somehow managed to get, I think, 1 or 2 hits off of him, like off of errors.
Mm-hmm.
But he throws an unscuffed slider that is one of the filthiest pitches I've ever seen.
Well, that's another variable that makes Palisades interesting, is that they do use a bucket of balls to where, like one pitch he could be using an unscuffed ball, or a ball that is cut, or a ball with a different cut, and he could have the same delivery, the same pitch, but the movement will be completely different, so it's hard for you to keep track of him to be ready.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And McGorath always has a little hesitation that he likes to throw in there,
mm-hmm.
but when I pitch, it's funny you mentioned that. I actually have 3 different scuff patterns that I pitch with for like 5 different pitches. So.
Oh, okay. I won't ask you to give away any of your secrets of the trade, but what do you think your dirtiest pitch is, or the one you're most confident with?
I throw this pitch. I've actually made the grip for it. I just made it up one day in my backyard. It's kind of like a 2-seam fastball. Like, it breaks slightly in to right-handed hitters.
Right.
And, the fastest I had it clocked about a year and a half ago was at, I think, 88.
Okay.
And if I need to throw a strike, I'm going to throw that pitch. But it's been taken deep a good amount of times. So
mm-hmm.
I'm still, fine-tuning some of my breaking balls so I can mix and match better.
Right. Well, when people, some people would hear that and say, well, hitting a home run in wiffle ball, that's, I could see I see those comments all the times, and, MLW's comments or Palisades comments and whatnot. What, like, for someone, I play high school baseball, and
mm-hmm.
I have my own, talking to hitters, talking to hitting coaches, and then talking to people that have played wiffle ball or whatever. I have kind of my own formed opinion on the skill levels or whatnot you want to call it of hitting a baseball compared to a wiffle ball. And it's not really, to me, it's not really about competition. It's just, I don't know, I find it interesting. So, like, what are your thoughts on that? Like hitting in base. I know you never played college, but your experience with baseball as opposed to wiffle ball with hitting.
I mean, I was a good hitter when it came to baseball, man. I was batting 3-4 in the order, hitting like 300 to 400. Like I could hit a baseball, but when it comes to wiffle ball, you got to shorten up everything. That ball's getting to you. If you blink while that ball's being thrown, you're gonna miss it. And it's kind of amazing if you look at some of the guys like Wiff Man, who hits like almost 400 every season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just gotta. It's a different combination of things. There's different variables. Like your timing is huge, vision, like eyesight, is very big.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's if you want to compare hitting like a JV or varsity level, like normal fastball, to hitting somebody throwing a wiffle ball, not that far away, like 90 plus. It's not even comparable, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, especially when you factor in that in these wiffle ball leagues, not only are they throwing, probably faster or on, 80s, 90s, 70s, whatever you want to say, but they're also, 48 feet away, as opposed to, I don't know what it is in high school, but it's, 10 feet or so or more than 48 feet,
Yeah. I think a mound's like 60 feet, 6 inches, something like that. And
mm-hmm.
I mean, you got a little more time there with that extra 10 to 12 feet or so. So
yeah, and the pitches aren't breaking 4 feet either.
Exactly, not at all. I mean, you'll see. Just go back, watch if you see anything on This Month in Wiffle Ball. Whenever like Anthony Didio is on the mound,
mm-hmm.
he'll throw pitches that start at like the top of your head and they'll end at your knees or something. It's ridiculous.
Right. I mean, speaking of Anthony Didio, and you mentioned Wiffman too, like those are a couple of guys who have I know they played in Golden Stick. I'm sure they played in multiple leagues, but you see them in Golden Stick a lot. And they seem to have kind of made the transition to Palisades. As like a lot of players, it seems that Palisades has grown so much. I've been watching them for say 3 years, and I can see that for myself. Just like the addition of the minor leagues and whatnot. Do you think that there is a growing interest? Like what do you attribute that to?
I mean, I attribute it to the skill level of everybody. I actually overheard Wiffman say maybe a year or two ago that like this right now, Palisades is the closest he's seen to like some of the top wiffle ball that he's played off with like Fast Plastic or Golden Stick when it like first started. He said Palisades is like right up there with skill level.
Do you know if he only plays in Palisades now, or does he still travel?
Wiffman, I have no idea. When I first came up with the Padres, when I was drafted by the Padres, he was actually on the team, and we talked briefly. I haven't really talked to him since, besides the time he took me deep this season. But, I'm not sure. I know he's been playing for such a long time.
Right.
I'm sure he's got, like, his whole career, and I don't know if he has a family, like, kids or anything like that, but I don't really talk to him too much, but I mean, I don't know how much he travels with everything he's got.
Well, I mean, you do see like I watched a little bit of that Fast Plastic tournament they held in Texas a few months ago, and you see, I think I saw like Jordan Robles and Tyler God, I can't pronounce his name. Wergerson. Tyler. Yeah, and like Sean Steffi, and those are all guys from the Northeast and whatnot. So I feel like there definitely is like, especially now, like this feeling of people wanting to travel to play tournaments. It feels like, especially like nationwide, you kind of, I don't know. Of course, it's not like I've been playing for 10 years, so I can't speak from a load of experience, but there definitely seem to be like a lot of interest growing. You have like Texas to the Northeast to like their leagues starting to be get their own thing going in Florida. It's just nice to see kind of it spread a little more nationwide nowadays.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I love that. And I mean, if the Fast Plastic tournament that was in Texas, it had a nice little prize pool. I think it was a couple grand or whatever it was, maybe closer to like 10. If that was closer to the Northeast, I'm sure you'd see some of the best playing in there.
Right.
But a lot of guys, don't want to travel all the way to Texas to then get beat by another amazing wiffle ball team.
Right. I mean, I think that's another thing that makes it interesting to me is, like, I've wondered, like, if you took the best team from the Palisades or the best team from Golden Stick or whatnot, wiffle ball is such a thing where, like, even, different leagues have different rules. The lines of, black and white with everything is kind of blurred a little bit. So it's kind of hard to keep everything, separate from one another. But it would be interesting to see if, I think that's what Fast Plastic is trying to do. But, it's going to take a while before, you could get, teams to travel that far to play.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different variables, and the best guys are going to team up with each other. Like, why wouldn't you when you're, like, the 4 best players in the world?
Oh, yeah, I mean, and if you've been playing with each other, for X amount of years, there's just that chemistry that you're not going to get with, no matter how good the other guy is.
Yeah, for sure.
So with the Fast Plastic Championship, you mentioned that the winner's prize pot, like what, we're probably going to wrapping up soon. I'm just curious, what would you say, to college students or beer buddies or whatever who see like this sign, wiffle ball tournament, $2,500 winner prize, and they come out there, expecting to see, guys who bought T-shirts for the weekend and went to Dick's Sporting Goods and bought some bats, to have some fun. Like what would you say in that regard?
I mean, if you want to, like, what do you call them, beer buddies?
Yeah, I don't know of a better term. Little southern.
If you're just playing like for fun and stuff, like playing in your backyard, that's fine. That's where I started. That's where everybody started, really.
Right.
Or even if you play yard style, like I love yard. I play it a lot of times just because I could pitch 3 games in a row and not blow my arm out.
Right.
But I mean, with competition level like fast pitch, and you get some of these best guys, that's where the money would be. There's not a ton of money in wiffle ball, but like it's gonna be in fast pitch.
Yeah, I mean, no one's making a living off of playing wiffle ball.
No, nobody's gonna make a career out of it. But I guess just a little side money. It's something that you get sponsors for, like different leagues and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's put a couple bucks in your pocket and just have a good time. Really, that's all it's for.
Right. And I think another thing, I mean, I look at it for myself, my ambition isn't to play, college sports. Like, sports isn't my lifetime career. But, wiffle ball is something that I could do, the next 20, years of my life, whatnot. Just even if it's as a hitter, or, I could maintain, being in wiffle ball for a while. And just because, 1, I love the game, and, 2, I really do, in some ways, I enjoy it more than baseball, like... And it beats playing, soft pitch softball,
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I played baseball. I play soft pitch softball, actually. And, I mean, nothing beats the Palisades, and nothing just beats fast pitch wiffle ball, man. It's like the chemistry with your teammates is amazing. Just like the competitive nature of it, it's unlike anything else because it's so personal. It's the pitcher and the batter. And, like, fielders still play a pretty big role, but it's so much more personal. Mm-hmm. When you're standing there in the batter's box and the pitcher's looking down at you.
Mm-hmm. So, I appreciate you saying that. That really, does put it all, right there on why wiffle ball is, such a fun sport. For somebody out there listening to this who, I don't know, does play a little soft pitch softball, or, he's wrapping up his senior year of high school and, his sports career is more or less over, what would you say to them, just as a little nudge to get into wiffle ball?
I mean, I'd say look it up, man. Go online, type in, see if there's any leagues around you. If you're in the Northeast and you're close to New York, Palisades, New York, come on, play in the minors if you're not too competitive and you want to get into it. It's a good time. I think we're starting registration, actually, for the Palisades. I saw Brett tweet something up, so just look them up, see what's in your neighborhood, play.
I mean, 20 summer 2018 is going to be right around the corner before you know it.
I mean, yeah, for sure, man. We just started the new year, and I'm already like building bats in my garage, and just like I'm sitting there in my basement at 3 a.m. sawing wooden bat handles off just to put them up against a screwball bat or something like.
That's only something that a dedicated wiffle ball player would understand.
I mean, I'm just ready to get out there trying to make the playoffs this year with the Brewers, and I'm eager, man. I can't wait.
Well, very good luck with that. I look forward to watching you on the Palisades WBL channel.
Thanks a lot, man.
If you guys have no clue who Palisades is, you probably do, but the link to check out their channel is right below you in the description. I think we're going to wrap up the podcast right here. Ryan, thank you again so much for coming on the show. My first guest. I really appreciate it. Had a great time. Hope you did too.
Yeah, man. I'm happy to be your first guest. Thank you for having me. I think the Wiffle Ball podcast scene is a good market to get into. Not a lot of podcasts out there.
No, we could definitely use more. The Two Wiffle Dudes podcast, they're holding it down on their end.
Yeah, man, but this is your chance. Nobody really covers the Palisades. I was thinking about that. Like, I was thinking about saying something to Brett actually this season. Like, hey, man, one video a month is great. People love it. But, like, if you could post more, if we could do some sort of podcast thing, like,
yeah,
give
definitely.
people their fix. You know?
Yeah. You might want to... I know they did some live streaming on you now.
Yeah.
I don't want to extend this too long, but, like, if they live streamed on their Instagram, I think just because like everybody is on Instagram constantly, and like I mean at least from my experience, and I know like MLW started live streaming their games on Instagram, and everybody loved that. You know, I don't know, it might be worth a try.
All right, man, something to think about. Maybe I'll tell Brett.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you again so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. You know, summer's coming, so get your bats, you know, get your balls, get your friends, and have a great time playing wiffle ball. Be talking to you guys on the next video. Ryan, you want to say goodbye?
Goodbye. Thanks for listening. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Thank you for, wanting to be on the show in the first place. That's awesome to hear that.
Yeah, of course.
Alrighty, you guys go out there, have an awesome day. I'll be talking to you on the next video. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Goodbye.